Welcome back to the Lipoedema Podcast. We are your hosts, Shell and Tiana, and today we are joined by a very special international guest, lymphedema therapist and clinical aromatherapist, Linda Anne Kahn. Linda Anne, thank you so much for joining us today. We are delighted to have you on.
It's such fun to be here, and I'm going to go to sleep and you're going to go and have lunch.
No, it's so hard to negotiate times with our international guests because you are in the States, is that correct?
Yes, I'm in California, away from the fires. I'm in San Diego.
Well, thank God for that. Yes, thank goodness. Well, it's amazing to have you. I'm so glad we could coordinate our times. Please tell us a little bit about your journey, specifically how you became an internationally certified lymphedema therapist and clinical aromatherapist.
Well, it's really interesting. It's always interesting how we land up doing what we're doing. I was originally a beauty therapist, so doing facials and massage and pedicures and things like that. And I loved my field. And then we moved to the United States and I got a skincare magazine and I saw an advert for a class on lymph drainage, Dr. Varda's manual lymph drainage. That was 1982. And I had already done a very short course in South Africa after I graduated on manual lymph drainage and cellulite and a little one on aromatherapy. So I thought, I've got to go lymphatic. And that started me. I trained with a woman who had trained with Dr. Varda, and she was teaching. She was from Finland. And I trained with her. And then I was doing the work. And then I met Hildegard Whitlinger from the Dr. Varda school. She's now 94 and she's retired. But I did all my training with her. That was just amazing. Such a gift you cannot imagine. And then because I'm a very curious person, I'd like to know more and more and more. I went to Australia and I studied in Adelaide with Judith and John Casely Smith, who unfortunately are not living anymore. But I had a great training with them. And then a few years later, I went to Germany and I studied at the Foldy Clinic and graduated there. So it's been an amazing journey. And in between all of that, I was traveling all over the world studying aromatherapy, France and England. And so it's been a most amazing journey. I love what I do and I love sharing it with other people. And I love my patients, and I'll probably be working till I'm 85.
Oh, I love that. We hope so too. So speaking of your patients, what inspired your passion for working specifically with lymphedema, lipedema, and connective tissue diseases?
Yes, again, you get led to things. When I was in Austria, graduating as a therapist, Hildegard came round the table while we were working on each other, and she said, you have lipedema. And I said, Mrs. Whitlinger, I don't look like the pictures you showed us with the big legs. Well, she didn't know then, and we didn't know because that was 1992, that I actually had stage 1 lipedema.
Wow.
And so now, of course, we know the different stages and the different types. And I started doing everything that I could to help myself, which we'll talk about. And I did not progress from stage 1 to stage 2. So my goal when I'm having my patients is the patients in stage 1, we don't let them progress. Stage 2, the same thing. Once you get to stage 3, as you ladies know, it's much more difficult to treat and manage. But I may have had a different gene to some of the patients I have, or some of the influences and people who we meet at the conferences, because some people get really large from a very early age. So that's fascinating with all the genes.
Oh, it definitely is. And it gives us hope, doesn't it, for those stage 1 or even stage 2s, that it's not inevitable to progress to the later stages at all. We do have some power of control.
We really do. And I co-authored a book on nutrition for lipedema and lymphedema with Dr. Karen Herbst, Dr. Emily Eicher, and Chuck Ehrlich. And we actually, they call me their poster child. because I've got a big job to keep that up, right?
That's right. Pleasure. I'm so glad you mentioned that book. That's great. So we will have a link to where you could purchase that book in our show notes. So that's excellent.
It's really a fabulous book. And I think it was about 5 years ago that we printed it. And it's all over the world, all the English-speaking world. So it really has helped a lot of people.
I have a copy. Yay. So hearing the word lipedema in the 90s, as you did, and then working gradually into like treating people with lipedema, how has the condition and the understanding of treatment sort of evolved over your career?
Oh, it's just incredible. As I said, we didn't even know about stages. We certainly didn't know about types. But now there's imaging, fabulous imaging with ultrasound. You can see, Emily Eicher calls it dancing fascia, and you can actually see breaks in the fascia and you can see the nodules. So that has really been quite incredible. We've got the standard of care in the United States. I lectured in Australia at Lipoedema Australia in June, and I spoke about the standard of care because hopefully you guys will have a standard of care over there. We had the Lipoedema World Alliance that emerged. And at our conference, the conference that was in Germany, there were 400 people from 40 different countries. So that's really emerged. Lots and lots of studies have emerged now and really looking at the pathophysiology of lipedema, which we don't really know exactly yet. But there's been a lot of change. Oh, and awareness, much more awareness of this condition, which is just wonderful because I just get so upset. I sometimes cry in the room when someone says how much the doctors have dismissed what they've said, and you hear all that story all the time. Just lose weight, start exercising, and we need to educate every single doctor everywhere. That should be a big goal.
Yeah, I love that. And with you, advocating for a standard of care, worldwide or in different countries, what we really need is that research to continue, and research costs money. So it's really difficult. We've got to get that awareness out there for people to want to invest in the research in order to influence the standard of care. I feel like we're just at the beginning.
Well, we're really fortunate in the United States, but they're all over. We have the Lipoedema Foundation, and the Lipoedema Foundation has funded studies all over the world, and they are just amazing.
Oh, thank God for them. Yeah, that's great. So can you speak about the unique challenges patients with lipedema have and how your integrative approach addresses them?
Yeah. Well, as you know, there's a lot of psychosocial challenges that patients have. Can't participate in life, can't do many activities. So then there are mental aspects that come, the mental challenges. Patients just feel really like they don't want to belong. It's really, really tough like that. And then there's gait and mobility, and that's hypermobility and the pronation. We pronate, and then we get flat feet, many people, but most lipedema patients do pronate. And then the hypermobility, and often with the knees rubbing together, the gait is off. Many of my patients in state 1 and 2 fall. And then they knee problems, and then there can be hip problems. So it's a range of those problems, both physical, mental, and actually emotional as well.
Yeah, so holistic, isn't it? Which is important. Why we need people like you.
So
we don't need just medical professionals. We need holistic providers.
We have to, and I'm actually a health coach as well. And so I just had a patient the other day, and she said, I don't know, I've been coming to you for 6 months. I'm so glad you're still taking me. I'm not doing what you tell me to do. I'm determined now. What shall I do? So we broke it down. We started again. And I said, okay, the first thing you're going to do, when can you do the exercise? And we went round and round for 10 minutes. And then we established Thursdays and Fridays. And so we made a time. And then I said, when you come back to me in 2 weeks, you're going to report back to me.
Yeah. It's so important, isn't it? Because, and you living with the condition as well, you have a unique understanding with your patients and can really break down those.
Because I know the struggle that I had when I was growing up and how horrible I felt, and I hated my legs, so then I hated me. And it wasn't until I was older that it's okay. I love my smile. There are other things. And that's what I try to impart to my patients. You are not just your legs. You are this wonderful person. So I do understand, and also the pain. I'm in menopause now, so I don't have that pain anymore in my legs. And the menopause did not trigger the lipedema for me to advance into different stages. But I know that's because of everything that I've been doing. I am so meticulous with my diet. When we travel, no matter what it is, and also the exercise and everything that I've done, and we'll talk about conservative treatments, I'm sure, in a little while, but it has not progressed. It does not have to progress.
That's so nice to hear, because it's pretty topical for Shell and I in the podcast at the moment, talking about that journey through perimenopause and onto menopause, and how a lot of women feel like it's the beginning of the end, and that they will spiral out of control in that time of their life. But as you said, it's not.
You don't have to. And the thing, hormone replacement has changed so much since I went into menopause. Now they're giving estradiol in patches. When I was younger, what they were doing was terrible, really horrible things. And so if it's controlled and it's in a patch or it's vaginal with a cream, the hormones do not need to affect the person and trigger into more lipedema. But that's another whole subject, and I'm sure you've had people talking about that with the hormones. It's very interesting, but that is a time, perimenopause and menopause, and I work with a lot of my patients, even more so. Avoid the estrogenic foods like soy, have the anti-inflammatory foods, control your stress, that exacerbates inflammation. And that's a time to be even more mindful of everything. I had a patient just a few days ago, a new patient, it was menopause that triggered her. She was okay up until then. But what does okay mean? Some people don't notice these things.
No, until we put the pieces together. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think that everybody gets, pains in the evening and they're a little bit sore, or, their knees buckle sometimes, and we just think it's normal until we get a diagnosis. That's not normal.
And so that's why an integrative approach is so important, because we need to work with music therapy, with aromatherapy, with mind body. I've given talks on the vagus nerve, stimulating the vagus nerve to really calm you, to get that emotional aspect, get support, have a support group, or go to a therapist like me who absolutely will be compassionate and support you and help you through the journey. Someone who will help you with nutrition and guide you with that. And then also all the self-care things that you're going to be doing. But what we do in the clinic, we really help to support the person, and we do lymphatic cupping. We do infrared light. I have a laser that comes from Australia, actually, to work on lipomas. Really wonderful. And if there's lymphedema that can occur with the lipedema, then we can treat that as well with some of these modalities.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nice segue, because aromatherapy is such a unique part of your practice. How does it complement the treatment of lymphatics and connective tissues?
Oh, it's just amazing. And it's interesting because I often talk about aromatherapy at the lymphatic conferences. And then I always talk about the lymphatic system at aromatherapy conferences, and they fascinate me. And in fact, I'm on a research committee for an international aromatherapy association that's here. We're just doing we're upgrading the safety standards, and they put me in charge of the lymphedema. We didn't do lipedema, but the lymphedema section. So aromatherapy can be used for lymphatic flow, like cypress, which is actually a vasoconstrictor. You like cypress? Oh, good. Yeah. Geranium, which actually helps to balance the nervous system as well as the hormones. And then it also is good for the lymphatic system. Peppermint helps with lymph motor angioricity, which is the pumping action. And then if they're emotional, you can use jasmine, neroli to help you to be calm. If there's sleep disturbances, rose. If you have brain fog, who has brain fog?
Yeah.
Rosemary is really good for that, but rosemary is also really good for the circulation. And then the pain, ply. I don't know if you know ply. And then there's some oils from Australia. I love my Australian oils
Yay.
Fregonia. Do you know Fregonia?
No.
Oh, you have to get Fregonia. Fregonia is an amazing oil. It's actually for the lungs. And in Chinese medicine, the lungs are for grief and trauma. And so Fregonia will just help those emotions. If you've just been diagnosed or you are struggling, Fregonia is just the most incredible oil. There's another oil called Kunzea, which is from New Zealand, and that's really for the lungs. There's rose myrtle. The Australian oils are phenomenal.
Love that.
So that's
And
just
do you use them topically? Like you mix them with a carrier oil and use them topically, or you diffuse them, or everything?
everything. So this is a blend that I made, and it's called Release. I actually put it on just before I came on so I could be nice and relaxed. So what I do when my clients come, I see what's going on with them mentally and emotionally and physically. And right there and then I make a blend. Blending it in coconut oil is the one that is easy to use because it's not very oily and it's good to use. And I use a little bit of that during my treatment. Not too much because doing the manual lymph drainage, hands will slide. But if you want for emotions, you put it in a diffuser. I have a diffuser going in my room all the time. Some days I put in the oil that I need because I'm having an off day. And so that's what I do. But it's wonderful for the emotions. I get to know my clients and then I can change, what I'm putting in. And so you would either use it diluted in a carrier oil like coconut oil, but like if some of the patients have lymphedema and there may be some wounds, because as you know, lipedema can become lymphedema, then I use different carrier oils. I use other oils that will actually help the skin, and I make a balm that is just phenomenal. It's got about 15 carrier oils and about 10 essential oils, and that is what I have patients use after they've had surgery. Because it helps the bruises and the pain. So that's just some of the ways that we can use aromatherapy with the lymphatic system.
I bet your place smells amazing.
Well, I have a really large facility. It's over 4,000 square feet. But the area where I work, and I have another girl who works with me, it smells lovely. It's gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
And then for the patients who are really having problems, and I'm going to customize an oil, I might take 2 weeks to blend. And at home, I decide, and then I might put 7 or 8 oil drops, different oils in that. So it's wonderful. That's also a way to incorporate integrative.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just fabulous. Of course, I feel great all the time.
Yeah. Your energy, you're radiating and I can't believe you because you're radiating this amazing energy.
My son,
get into aromatherapy.
Yeah, I love essential oils. I've always been into essential oils. I love them. I use a blend. I've just made up a lotion. I used a blend of cypress, lemongrass, and grapefruit.
Lovely. I don't know why I do grapefruit because it's one of my favorite oils for the lymphatic system.
Yeah.
It helps so you're great. It moves lymph, but it also uplifts the spirit because all the oils that come from the fruit oils, they uplift the spirits.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And all the ones that come from bark or the roots are grounding.
That makes sense.
It's correct. Not only are they grounding, but they help the root system to go. So they actually help with cellulite and lymphatic, like vetiver.
Oh, you've really got me.
That's a good one for sleep too. Vetiver is good for sleep.
Yes, and then there's sandalwood, and we can't get the sandalwood from India anymore because they need it for their rituals. So guess who's growing amazing sandalwood?
Oh,
Australia.
Yes.
Hey, go up. Oh, very cool. I could talk about I feel like I could talk about aromatherapy all day, but I'm going to switch gears now because you're also a lecturer internationally. And I'm keen to know what key takeaway you try to impart when you're speaking to professionals.
Yes.
Specifically about, the lymphatic system.
So it really depends what kind of conference I'm speaking at. Is it an aromatherapy conference? Is it a fat disorder conference? Is it lipedema conference? What am I speaking at? But basically, if I'm speaking to a group of professionals who work with lipedema and lymphedema, what I'm wanting to inspire in them is continue studying all the time, keep up with all the research. I go to bed reading research sometimes, and I've got in my phone, I've got a list of all the new things so that I can just refer to it in my notes at any time, that you have to keep up with everything because patients today, and you know that, are very informed. And they're hungry for knowledge.
Yeah.
I feel that I need to give my patient much more than I really need to give them. So I learn about medical things. I learn about the research, resources. I have a whole list of resources to help my patient. Nobody leaves my room without a list of things to do or, to look up, and then I'll be emailing sometimes. So that's it. And then to be compassionate and caring and present, because patients suffer.
That's such a good message. You guys have a finite time with us as patients, especially medical professionals. I mean, GPs, you've got 5 to 10 minutes. And maybe they forget because they want to get down to what the diagnosis is. And sometimes we just need an ear, to work through the diagnosis with us, which is exactly what you described that you do.
The struggles that you're having. I had a patient tell me last week, oh my God, you're just not just a lymphedema therapist. You've just helped me mentally. And I'm not a psychologist, but I'm a really good listener and I can reflect back and then I can help to guide. So that's the other thing. We need to know our limitations and when to send to medical professions. The problem is that in our country, the doctors don't know. So even the endocrinologists, so I'm always sending flyers, brochures, tell this doctor, tell that doctor. We have, so that we have the Fat Disorder Conference coming up in March, and I'm going to be speaking on insulin sensitivity, metabolic dysfunction, and obesity and health, because I feel that that's really important. That's such a root key thing with lipedema, and we need to know more about that.
Great.
So there we have, it's a conference for patients, but we have more and more medical professionals coming because it's so professional.
That's awesome. They're the ones we need to educate. We need to get them educated on what we're going through so that they can assist us and support us more.
That is correct. And I tell my patients, if your doctor's not listening to you, find another doctor. That's it.
Yeah.
Because what I like is the doctors who say, I don't really know a lot about that, but give me some information, or they'll listen. That's all we need.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't want them shutting us down because not all of us can advocate for ourselves. Some of us, do have that authority bias and we'll just be, oh, well, they're the doctor, they know best.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that would be really a big message to tell health professionals and patients. And I do tell this to my patients, your body more than anybody. Don't let anybody negate what you are feeling.
Yeah, that's a great message. We're going to go back now to talking about your lipedema journey and how you have not had any progression. So can we go through your strategies or the steps you've taken and implemented to be able to do that?
Absolutely. Number one has been diet, which is not a diet. It's an eating plan. And it took me a long time to get to where I am now, which I've been doing now for about 35 years. I did all the yo-yo diets, everything you can imagine, until I came to America, actually. And I started studying nutrition and I started going to amazing cooking classes and finding, wow, I can make really delicious foods that are healthy and not to worry about it. At that time, I was still eating grains. I was vegetarian. I had tried everything. I was vegetarian. I was eating brown rice. Now I don't do that anymore. I cut those out. I don't personally do keto, but I did cut that out just because I do better. My body does better with that. So I started really watching that with the nutrition and then exercising. Some patients can't move very well. Then you have to do chair yoga or whatever you can do. But I was able to move at that point. I found that running was terrible because it really inflamed me. And so that's true. Then it's really only about 8 years ago, I started Pilates. which had really changed my body. But so it was the exercise. I used to swim, which I don't do anymore. Swimming is the best exercise, but I unfortunately stopped doing that. Always exercising and always moving. So that's what I did. And then having manual lymph drainage. I do dry brushing. I do it about 3 times a week now. I used to wear compression. I don't need to anymore. My inflammatory markers are normal.
Wow.
Awesome.
But that's really because of the diligence that I have. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm going to this wedding or it's a birthday. Today I can just do that. No, it's not. I don't do that. So I will eat chocolate. I will eat dark chocolate, have a little bit of that. I love that. You can have, there are things that you can have, but you have to monitor to see what's going on with your body. I did do a food sensitivity test as well. And now in recent times, I've been doing gene testing, and I just got back about 3 days ago. It's called sequencing.com, but I have done others as well. And I'm really doing it more to learn what's going on with my body and how can I help other people. But I think that that's going to be a really important thing to do the genes.
Yeah, it's so interesting too. If there is any world where the amount of gene information we have could have some significance with somebody else with lipedema,
It would be great
to find out the similarities. But
this study that came out of, oh no, that's a different one, is a study out of Australia. Where is it? This one
the
here.
Bub one, is it?
The Bub one, yeah. And I was so happy when I was in Australia, I heard Rawan and the other lady speaking. But that's amazing. That was amazing discovery, of the genes. So we need to know more and more of that. And then there's this on the adipose tissue, Sarah Algodbon, who used to work with Dr. Karen Hopes when she was at the University of Arizona. And she's been doing a lot of work on estrogen and showing that estrogen, we always knew estrogen played a part, but now they're really showing it. This one is the expression of adipogenic marker significantly increased in estrogen-treated lipedema adipocytes, differentiated from adipose stem cell. So that's very exciting, all of these tests.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for the conference in Rome, the second Lipedema World Alliance, because there'll be more research.
Yes, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Yeah, and having all those professionals in one place and the networking available and the support of each other's research, that is just,
incredible.
It was insane. In Germany, we were in Potsdam. It was absolutely insane. I just couldn't believe it because it was just all these high quality people, all the people whose research I had read, there they were, and presenting. I presented a poster and I was really honored to do that because everyone who presented in the main hall were doctors and researchers. So I presented a poster. Yeah.
Oh, that's an awesome achievement.
Yeah, I was happy. I was really happy. Yeah. So, there's just a lot going on, a lot of support that is needed, a lot of care. And I really believe, so when we studied to do lymph drainage in school, at the Dr. Vada School and the Foldy, we studied complex decongestive therapy, which is manual lymph drainage, bandaging, compression, and skincare. And I have added deep breathing, nutrition, and aromatherapy.
Right.
And that's the integrative approach. And in my treatment rooms, there's aromatherapy, there's calming music. It's different from being in a hospital because you're just being treated as a whole person and then you can relax. And the manual lymph drainage is so relaxing. It calms the nervous system. It calms sympathetic activity and brings up parasympathetic. I think every lipedema patient should be lipedema. When I was in Australia, that was so hard to remember to say lipedema. And I know someone who's with the Lipoedema Association, the Lipoedema Foundation, and I said, can you try, it's your next meeting, to get them to change it to lipedema? But they called the Lipoedema Foundation. So that's not happening.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. We can just be different. In
Yeah.
a we'll just be a little bit different. That's
But
fine.
it is better because when you say lipedema, and I have a new integrative doctor, he's fabulous. And when I told him about lipedema, he said, "You mean, with the blood levels?" And I said, "No." So when you say lipedema, then they know it's not lymphedema and it's not lipedemia.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Cool.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. Thank you, Linda Anne.
Okay, with all that you've talked about this integrative approach, what advice would you give someone for their self-care and daily management?
So it depends how much time the person wants to spend. Sometimes some of the ladies are spending 3 hours a day, and I don't want people to have to do that. But I like foam rolling at home. I really like the foam rollers or gua sha, or I like the massage gun to do that. And I tell people, do something different every day. You don't have to do hours and hours. So you do that. If you have a pool, to swim in the pool or walk in the pool or do aqua exercises. We have a woman called Susan O'Hara. Her Instagram is Legs Like Mine. She's written brilliant books, and one is on aquatherapy and has pictures of what to do in the water. So that's one thing. Deep breathing to be calm. Sometimes I have people do exercises for the vagus nerve. That can be done too. Okay, so we spoke about that. Nutrition, absolutely amazing. And if needed, I'll help people with recipes, but you can get lots of stuff online now, with recipes, but just to be adventurous with that.
Yeah.
But at home, if they do all the things that I've said there, that can be very, very helpful. Do you ladies foam roll? The foam roller?
It hurts me.
It hurts me as well.
Really?
But I do the vibration platform and
it's fabulous.
And we got pumps as well.
And the pneumatic compression pump is fabulous. It's not always easy to get for the patients. We have to write up all kinds of things for them, but the pneumatic compression pump is fabulous. So I do that. Yes, definitely to do that. It's a lot of stuff to do at home.
Yep. There's a lot. There's a lot of options, and that's the thing. And I've spoken about it before, but I listened to someone speak recently, and they were like, have a ceiling and a floor. And so my floor every day is making sure I dry brush, and my ceiling would be I'm in the water, I'm going for a walk, I've eaten beautiful, nutritious food, I've vibration plate, I've done compression, I've been in my pump. But that is like that perfect day that probably happens, twice a year. Yeah. But I have that. My floor is, I make sure that I dry brush every day. That is my non-negotiable.
That's great. That's wonderful. And you can use aromatherapy with dry brushing too.
Yeah.
Well, you've got your oil,
Yeah, I make the lotion.
So yeah, it does.
And you can put a couple of drops of something on the brush itself too. Yeah.
Correct.
Would that be grapefruit? Would I put grapefruit?
Grapefruit would be fabulous. Yeah.
Love that. So
that's the thing. You don't have to do everything all at once. But if you do every day, you do something different, then you're going to be contributing to it. In my office, I have a box with all the tools and gadgets that can be used. And one of the tools I got when I was in Australia, one of the gals did it. It's like a mitt, and there's like a roller in it, and you roll on your
Yeah, the Chelsea glove. Yeah.
That glove, I like that. It's very nice.
They're great.
And the balls, you can take different balls. And if they hurt you, there's a ball called Courageous. That's a softer one. So you can lie on that and it won't hurt you. And then with the massage gun, you have to use the soft part, the attachment, and you don't have to press hard. You just lean it on your body and then work it up.
You just let the vibration do the work.
Yes. That can be very painful.
Awesome. Linda Anne, you have given us so much information today. It has been amazing, and we're so glad that this all worked out with time differences and everything. So thank you for your valuable time. Where can our listeners connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram at Linda Anne Kahn, and it's Linda Anne, Anne, Kahn. I have a LinkedIn page as well. My website is www.lymphatictherapyservices.com. And then I have my spa. I own a day spa. I don't think I told you that.
Oh, I want to come.
San Diego, here we come.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful here. So those are the main ways. And then if you need to email me to ask me anything, I'm always happy to help. info@lymphatictherapyservices.com.
Fabulous. We'll put all of that in the show notes so our audience can find you.
Because I love to help people. I try every month to go on the Lipoedema Roundtable, which is put out by Lymphedema. So I'm invited to be there whenever I can, and I try to do that. I was on this last week. And then we have a group here, an education group, and we're aiming to do wonderful things here in the country. So there's a lot. And I know you're going to say goodbye, but I got together with two influencers, lipedema influencers, and we went to a bariatric conference here in San Diego, and we educated the ladies about lipedema. It was fantastic. It was great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was in San Diego. So I like to do volunteer things whenever I can, to help. But that was very important, what we did.
Yeah, because there'd be so many people within that community that wouldn't even know that lipedema existed. So they're not attacking this from the right angle and supporting their bodies the way they need to.
That's correct.
Yeah. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Linda Ann. It has been our pleasure having you on today.
Thank you so much. And you guys are doing such a wonderful job raising awareness, creating awareness, and helping everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
The Lipoedema Podcast 2025 is powered by Elegance Lymphatic Care. Lipoedema and its symptoms vary from individual to individual. The opinions and advice voiced in this podcast are of a personal nature and used for educational purposes.
Please take away from this podcast what resonates with you, and please see your GP or preferred specialist for diagnosis and healthcare. We are Shelley and Tiana from the Lipoedema Podcast. Until our next episode, bye for now.